So this review is for Jamestown. It's a 2D vertical scrolling shooter. It's a 2D game that kind of looks like the stuff you've seen on the Super Nintendo Genesis. I mean, technically the graphics you've seen it before, but I mean it looks clean. It's not going to be a contender for best graphics, but it does the job.
Right, I dug the art style. It's pretty unique, and I thought that the characters and backgrounds were well done. Like you've said, it's nothing you haven't seen before. If you're a fan of the genre, it kind of reminded me of a very good-looking SNES game. It's pretty. It's just it doesn't break the mold. Not much to say about the level design. You just keep moving forward. There's no branching paths or anything like that. It's pretty linear.
I mean, the art style looks cool, but it's the same thing I've seen in other shooters before. The same kind of look.
Right, right. I mean, I thought it was pretty. I didn't really. I like the lasers. I like the big laser when you fire that up.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff going on screen. I guess that's one difference between an SNES game and a PC game in 2011. You can have so much stuff going on screen.
I mean, the sound is kind of the same case as it is with the art style, where it's simple. I mean, sound effects, music, that's all there is to it. But it's clean sound effects. It's crisp. It does the job. But it's like nothing. Oh man, this is amazing. It's just it's there.
Right, right. The music is pretty varied and atmospheric. I thought it complemented the gameplay really well. As far as the sound effects go, I thought they were sufficient. I guess is the best word for it. They'll do. They don't detract from the gameplay, but I don't really think the sound designer will win any awards for them either.
With games like this, I don't think a story is important, but I mean, this one has kind of an interesting story where it's the Jamestown colony in Virginia. Now it's on Mars, and there's Martians, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff on there. I mean, it's okay, but I don't really care about it. You're not attached to the characters or the plot. It just seems like unnecessary filler. I mean, normally I'd say the story that's weak, it hurts the game, but for these kind of like these 2D scrolling shooters, like, I don't care about it at all, so I'm not even going to criticize it for this really weak story.
Man, the story is nonsense.
Yeah, it is definitely pure nonsense.
It is nonsense. The premise is just ridiculous. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
I'm saying it's nonsense and this and that, but it's not a bad thing. Like you said, a game like this doesn't really need a story, so it's refreshing that the developers chose to have fun with it. I thought it was just quirky and out there.
This game is both for fans of shooters and people trying to get into shooters. You can jump right into the hardest difficulty if you want to right off the bat. I think it's called Divine, which is basically like a bullet hell type. Or if you want to start from normal, work your way up, go right ahead. It's kind of what I did, work my way up. Because I mean, I've played it before, but I'm not like really like a hardcore at this genre. I'm that good at it. But if you're a veteran, start like Divine difficulty and just play from there.
I'm not a veteran at all. I've played these types of games before. I'm not really a big fan of them. But I thought this one did a very good job of sort of easing you in. A lot of these types of games have a reputation for just being unforgiving. There's just one-hit kills and so much stuff going on screen you can barely even see. I thought the controls were tight for the most part. You said you didn't like the mouse.
Right, I played actually with all three types. I had a gamepad, a keyboard, a mouse. The gamepad was the best. The keyboard was pretty decent. The mouse was just, it was horrible. I was pretty the gaming mouse with different DPI and all that stuff on there, and I messed around with it, but it was just like kind of like I was just forcing the mouse to go along the screen. It wasn't as good to use as the keyboard or the gamepad.
Well, I tried the keyboard and the mouse, and I actually thought the mouse was better.
Okay, so different opinions.
Yeah, I guess it's just whatever you get used to.
Right.
The problem I have is it sort of feels laggy on the higher difficulties when there's a lot of stuff going on screen, and you have like a million different projectiles flying at you. The ship doesn't really keep up with your mouse movements. It just feels slow.
That's why I don't like the mouse, because it was kind of
but
like
I tried the keyboard and it was the same thing. You press you press the keyboard button, you press the arrows or WASD, whatever layout you want to play with, and it's still the ship's speed doesn't change. So it was a minor gripe. It's not a big deal. Like I said, the gameplay was fun. And I do appreciate the fact that you can play it on, I think the lowest difficulty is normal.
Right.
And normal difficulty, I was able to, breeze right through the first few levels,
Mhm.
and it taught me the mechanics of the game, and I thought it was just, well done.
And right on that point is that the game kind of does ease you when you work with from normal to hard to very hard. You definitely feel like you're getting better and better. Like, yeah, I'm improving at this kind of game. That's great. I'm really I'm learning something here. I'm like I know what I'm doing. I'm definitely improving. I like seeing these kind of hard games where some games they just throw you right out there, right into the the water with sharks in it.
Right.
Here, you start off, you work your way up, normal to hard to very hard, and you feel yourself getting better and better and better. Even if the level is hard, you die once, this part, second time again, you play it again, and you figure out, okay, I'll do this next time, and I'll beat it.
I did like that part about the different difficulties. What I didn't like is that there's only 5 levels in the game,
Right.
and in order to, you can beat the first 3 on the lowest difficulty.
Hmm.
Then the next one, in order to beat the next one, you have to beat the previous 3
On hard, yeah.
on hard, and then you unlock 4. Once you beat 4, in order to unlock 5,
You play them very hard, yeah.
you have to, yeah, but you have to beat the previous
Right,
4
right, right.
levels on very hard. I guess it's okay if you only have 5 levels. I just wish they just have 20 levels, because it's not like these levels are long.
Right.
These levels, they're like between 5 and 10 minutes. So if you start the game on very hard, you'd be able to beat it in under an hour. You beat the whole game.
Right, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, though, I kind of I played on normal to hard to very hard. I did, all those levels back and forth. And that actually liked it, because I felt for new players, you're really gonna, improve. If you're new to this kind of genre, I haven't played it in a while. I'm not that good at it. And I was bidding on normal, so the first few levels, when I beat it, I tried hard. I felt like I was getting better and better, and I like that kind of feeling of improvement myself.
I don't mind the feeling of improvement. I just think that they could have done the same thing with different levels. Why do you have to replay the first 4 levels 4 times?
Right.
Why
Yeah.
didn't they just make 20 levels?
Right. I get what you're saying. Where if you're like a very experienced player to it, you play it very hard and you beat those 5 levels, and yeah, that's it.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, that's definitely a valid
That was
criticism.
that was the one major problem I had with the game. It only has 5 levels. There's different challenges. There's different ships you can unlock. But none of those options fundamentally change the game. It's all the same thing. You have different you have different challenges that you can go back and do, but those challenges are set within the 5 levels that you've already beaten 5 times.
So this game has 4 ships you can pick. But I think that the best ship is the default ship that you get. It's the most effective in any kind of area you're in. The other 3 ships, they're definitely more advanced, and I tried playing with them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. The first ship does the job. It has kind of this wide spread beam, which is not as powerful, but attacks anyone on the screen. It's kind of concentrated beam, which is really powerful. It's good for bosses and mini bosses. The other ships are I mean, I guess you can play as them, but it seems like why bother? I really.
Yeah, it's like we said before, it's a little bit more variety. It changes things up a little bit, but I don't think it's enough. You have 4 different ships, but you're still going through the same 5 levels, and the story doesn't change, the gameplay doesn't really change that much. You're still fighting the same enemies. It just wasn't enough.
This game also has multiplayer mode, but it's local multiplayer only for up to 4 players, which, I mean, it's hard to find 4 players to play with you locally, especially kind of a genre like this. And, lack of online play, if there was online play, I could have found someone online, played online, maybe beating the game online, but because the option's not there, it kind of it really hurts the game, in my opinion.
I agree with you that the lack of online play hurts the game. I thought the local co-op was a very cool idea. I mean, I'm a fan of local co-op. I prefer sitting on my couch with a friend or 2 or 3 and playing the game. It's a little bit different when you're playing on a PC, because it's a PC. Usually a PC setup, a regular PC setup, only includes 1 chair and a desk. So when you have 4 guys or 4 people playing the same game on the same monitor, one has a keyboard, one has a mouse, and let's say 2 game pads, it gets a little cumbersome. But the idea was cool. I thought, you know, it's co-op. These games are, you know, well suited for co-op like that. I just don't understand why they didn't put an online option. Honestly, this whole game feels unfinished. 5 levels and no online co-op. I mean, really, I guess I don't really know what they were thinking, but it just doesn't feel like it's worth the money you're paying for it.
I mean, I agree with the idea you have, like, local co-op being a cool idea. At the same time, like, who owns a gamepad? Like, I have a gamepad. I have a gamepad. Do you have a gamepad? You know, that's the thing. With PC gamers, like gamepads are necessary. Keyboard and mouse is the job.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, PC gaming is sort of solitary. You know,
you're not
it's
really
not
buy
an Xbox. You know,
you're not going to buy like a gamepad for a PC game because keyboard doesn't do the job.
Well, if you don't have a gamepad, you're probably not going to buy it for this game.
Right, exactly.
You know?
There you go, exactly.
But I thought it was a cool idea, you know, nonetheless. I mean, if you do have a friend over and you do have a gamepad, it's a cool game to play with them.
Now, like these kind of shooters, they're typically hard. They're called bullet hells. Well, not this one, but there's typically like bullets over the screen, fire after job. But I think with this game, the way you kind of like, if you're a new player, the way you kind of increase from normal to hard to very hard, all the way to divine. I like that kind of, you know, like like I was getting better and better. So I thought that was really well done. In the last stage of the game, it is a huge difficulty spike. It's harder than the other stages in the game, in my opinion. That's just how the genre is, though. So yeah, that's all I can really say about it. It's not going to be an easy game. You know, it's going to be a game to actually kind of work on to beat.
Yeah, I think that last level was, I don't know, I guess a little bit pumped up artificially. You know, they just made it harder just so it'll take you longer to finish. That's how it felt to me. And it, you know, goes along with what I've been saying this whole review. It's just, I don't think it's finished. You only get 5 levels. You don't get multiplayer co-op. You don't get multiplayer versus. And they make you, you know, if you start on the lowest difficulty, they make you play, you know, each level at least 3 or 4 times.
So this game does have replay value, but it's geared more towards like the hardcore scrolling shooter fans rather than someone who's new to the genre. Because, you know, like going from easy to divine, or the challenge is there. It's not made for somebody who, you know, who's like never played this game before. This kind of genre before. If you've played shooters before, the replay value is there for you. But if you're like new to shooters, you might not want to play through it again after you beat it.
I feel the same way. If you're really into this genre, you will enjoy it. You will enjoy playing it again. I played it, I beat it. I never played it again. I never thought about it again. You know, there are challenges. Like I said before, there are challenges that you can do after you beat the game. But I just don't think it's enough. It's, you know, I've tried a few of the challenges. I've beat a few of them. But it's just not for me.
So I give this game 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, I like the genre even though I rarely play it. And I really enjoyed how, you know, like the progression part and all that and all the different challenges to do. And the kind of replay value does exist for shooter fans. The reason why I give it 5 stars is because lack of multiplayer really hurts the game in my opinion. I mean, local multiplayer is kind of a cool idea, but online play would have been so much better.
I agree with Saad. Not about the score. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think this is a good game if you're into shooters. If you're not into shooters, you probably won't have much fun with it. I'm not that into that genre. I do appreciate the fact that it sort of holds your hand in the beginning and it gradually bumps up the difficulty. I don't appreciate the fact that there's only 5 levels. I don't appreciate the fact that you have to beat those levels multiple times in order to unlock new levels. And I don't appreciate the fact that there's no online multiplayer whatsoever.